Hello, my sunshine, and welcome to a new episode of the Hot Girl Morning Podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about rest, about motivation, and what has been going on in my life lately. So, if you're interested to listen to any of that, stick to this episode. Today, I want to get right started, and we're going to give you a sign from the universe. If you have been here for a while, you already know the gist. I have this beautiful book in my hand, which is called Living with Joy, Keys to Personal Power and Spiritual Transformation, and I'm going to open up a random page to give you a sign from the universe. This book is filled with affirmations and quotes and so much more, and let's see what you're meant to hear today. Only those who feel good about who they are can express humility. Those who act the most arrogant or coldly confident are those who lack the very characteristics they are trying to project. People who love themselves come across as very loving, generous, and kind. They express their self-confidence through humility, forgiveness, and inclusiveness. If you know people who seem to be very wise and yet put others down and reject friends and make people feel bad about themselves, no matter how high their words or what they teach, you can rest assured they do not love themselves. Okay, I feel like this kind of speaks to what is currently going on in the world, and yeah, it shows where all this negativity in some way comes from. But interesting choice of quote. I'm gonna put the book aside and hopefully you got something out of that. And I want to talk to you, as I said before, about like motivation, rest, life, and everything in between. I'm gonna start with a quick life update. Because as always, life has been crazy. If you know or if you don't know, I am a bit of a digital nomad. I stay in places for like 2 months, then I go back home like for a couple of weeks, and then I go to different places in 2 months. And that is a lifestyle that has a lot of advantages and helps you see the world and experience different cultures. And like there's a lot of pros, but there are also some contrast, like some disadvantages from living that type of way. It sometimes is really hard to really like settle in somewhere or just to get into routines and build systems, because you're always like pulling yourself out. You're always changing the people that you're surrounding yourself with. It always, or a lot of the time, it feels like you're very far away from some friends or some family because you never live like in the same place where your family and your friends are. It's just like everything all over the place. And currently we're in between travels. We have been to Spain I mean my partner and me. We both work remotely. So we both have been to Spain for like almost 8 weeks around May and June, and now we're about to go to Vienna for the next 2 months. So in all honesty, I feel like I'm in a bit of a like in-between phase, not like me mentally, but like physically with like unpacking it. To me, it doesn't feel like it really does make sense to really unpack. And usually what I really pay attention to is like in these times that I really do some habits that really make me feel connected, that really make me feel just at ease and peaceful. And usually it doesn't feel like this big task anymore. It's like it comes to me really easily because I have trained myself to do that for a lot of time, but in a really like beautiful, intuitive way. But for some reason, currently it's a bit harder for me. And I think, yes, part of the reason is that it's super hot. If you don't know, I'm actually Italian. I'm from a German speaking part in Italy, to be quite specific. And it's really hot here and we don't have AC. Honestly, all of my clients are always from the US or Canada. So that is something that really sounds weird to them, that we don't have AC, but we do not have AC. So it's like really freaking hot. And usually the thing that really like grounds me and that I need to do on a daily basis is like going for a walk or doing yoga. And they're like all these things that I usually love to do, but since it was so hot these days, I was struggling to kind of leave the house, because yes, I have to like stay safe if it's like really freaking hot, but I can like go for walks like maybe earlier in the morning or really like later in the evening. But I have noticed that every time I don't go like for walks for a really long amount of time, or don't really like do these habits or these like rituals to connect with myself, it ends up with me feeling really disconnected. And I think that's also partly what happened like this week, because usually when I'm going to give you a lot of information now, but usually when I'm on my period, I'm in pain, I don't feel my best, and that's completely normal. But normally when I'm like afterwards, like the next phase, which is a follicular phase, this is where usually your energy gets up. But this time around, it didn't really happen to me, because something work-wise was coming up, not regarding like my coaching business, but there was some other project that I'm doing where something changed and it got really stressful, and I haven't felt anxious in a really long time. If you don't know, 2.5 years ago, was it already 2.5 years ago? I think so. 1 year? I don't know. Oh, I forgot. Holy guacamole. I was going through burnout. And that was a difficult time in my life. And after going through that, like I was also experiencing anxiety attacks, and it was a really distinct feeling. And that was like that feeling within my chest where, I don't know, it's like your chest is on fire in some type of way. And I didn't experience that for a really long time. The last time I have felt anything like that was like over a year ago, and that was like a real panic attack. And that was the first panic attack I ever had, but there were like some other reasons for it. But this week I noticed after such a long time that I was getting like this anxious feeling. It was not an anxiety attack, but I was just like, oh no, I know this feeling. And if I keep ignoring it, it's only going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger until I really get an anxiety attack. So it was a bit of a wake-up call for me to feel that anxiety again and to listen inwards to it. And I work with someone who is also works with does spirituality, but in a sciencey way, if that makes sense. And she talks a lot about anxiety and healing anxiety. And the really beautiful thing about it is once you realize that anxiety is not like the issue, it's not like the main thing, but it's like a messenger. It is trying to tell you something. And these days I really try to listen inwards and to listen what that feeling is telling me. And I think I still need to continue doing that. But this is my reminder for you to listen to what your body is telling you, and not just try to, I need to stop being anxious, I need to do something about it, but listen to that feeling, listen to that emotion, what it is trying to tell you, because there is something deeper within. And something that I also noticed that usually, I would say, I love myself. I have built a life that I truly, truly enjoy. There a lot of bumps in the road and a lot of worries and doubts, all of that is still present, but the base of it starts with self-love for me. And usually I'm also pretty good at setting boundaries and knowing my limits, and for some reason this week I did not do the best job at it. And I think part of the reason is also because I didn't go for my walks. I didn't do my journaling sessions when I talk to the universe, or where I feel deeply, deeply connected. And I was spending more time on my phone, I would say, / I currently have this obsession of listening to audiobooks, and they're so good to the point where I just cannot stop listening to them, and I just crochet and listen to audiobooks, and sometimes that gets out of hand. Okay, I'm losing track. Let's get back. But basically, I have realized that usually I'm really good at setting boundaries, but since I haven't done the things that I usually do to reconnect with myself, I got to a point that I didn't like, and I needed my partner to have a conversation with me and him to tell me a couple of things for me to realize, okay, there's some boundaries that are clearly overstepped where I don't feel valued in the work that I do, and I have to show up for myself in a different way, because the money that I'm getting from this side project is not worth the pain that I'm going through, or like the stress. Like, it's not in any relation. And it was really interesting to me because it also reminded me again of, no matter how many learnings you already had in the past, you will always still continue like to make mistakes, and you will be faced with situations where you have to again learn to, okay, I have to set boundaries. It's not like one day you get to the point and then you have done it and you will love yourself until the end of time and you will set always the perfect boundaries. But it's like taking a shower. This is something that you have to do over and over and over again. And it also reminded me of the fact that no matter how many videos you watch on 20 things I learned in 20 years, or like things I wish I knew in my 20s or in my 30s, or whatever it is, there's a difference between hearing learnings from someone else versus truly embodying and understanding and knowing and living by these learnings. And I think to some extent, like these, like what I've learned in my 20s, blah, 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 like, yes, it can be really, really helpful, but to also take the self-judgment away of, I should have known, like I knew it better, but for some reason I didn't do it better, if that makes sense. So not to be that hard on yourself, and to accept that life comes with continuous learning, and no matter how many videos you're watching, and no matter how many like self-improvement books you're gonna read, you still have to like really internalize some things. And I don't know if you have ever experienced this, but I had a book that I bought, 10 years ago. And back then I read it and I didn't really feel it. And now I read it again. And being now 26 years old, it all makes so much sense. And sometimes we hear things, but we don't really like live by them and really understand it. And sometimes we have to make mistakes. What I'm not saying is that when you know right now that you're making a mistake, I don't know, with the person that you're in a relationship with, and you know, like, okay, that's a mistake, but do it for the plot. Like, if you know that it is a mistake right in this moment, I'm not encouraging you to do the mistake, but I'm encouraging you to let go of the judgment towards yourself if you're making a mistake, because it's gonna happen. And I think what this week has shown me is that no matter how hot it is outside, I still have to make it a priority to create this space to connect with myself. And usually it was always it tends to feel really easy for me. But right now, this is something that I have to practice again. So this is my reminder for you as well, to listen inwards. Have you rested, or it's not even about resting. Have you reconnected with yourself? And something that I also realized this past week is, I think to so many things, like to so many problems, the actual solution is to listen inwards and to connect with yourself. And I think maybe sometimes in the past I haven't communicated this the right way, because I don't know, I feel like so much is connected to us feeling dysregulated, to us not feeling connected, and like so much with not allowing ourselves to feel the feelings, distracting ourselves, being on our phone. Like, so much is connected to us not being connected with ourselves. So I want this episode to be your reminder to connect with your core again, because so much of our life we just spend thinking about things, like overthinking, thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about the grocery list, like working, and there's just so much of this day-to-day life that we forget to see the bigger picture. And I think what I've realized, what is the biggest game changer for me when I feel disconnected, is to do two things. There are two different options and they're very contrary, but at the same time, really, really helpful if you feel disconnected with yourself or if you're just like feeling all over the place. And I want to start with number one. Number one is you switching their perspective and really zooming out. Really zooming out. Imagine yourself like you're sitting in your room right now or driving your car out, wherever you are right now. And imagine you're like on Google Maps and you're zooming out onto the world, and all of a sudden you can see the country you're in, you can see the continent that you're in, you can see the earth, you can see like, oh no, the earth is getting like, it's getting smaller and we're like surrounded by all these beautiful stars. And sometimes our brain needs this because we get so caught up in day-to-day life that we forget to see it all. We forget to see the bigger picture. We forget that we're like these tiny little humans on this huge earth where everyone who we get in contact with, like that is, oh my God, sidetrack. When I'm on a train and I look at different people, thinking about each and every one of us is experiencing our own life, has time, like all of us experience times of laughter, of fun, of like love. And all of us also experience times of frustration, of anger, of sadness, of, I don't know, feeling neutral. Like thinking about the fact that everyone is just like going through this human experience for the first time as well, or at least like for the first time consciously, depending on like what you believe in. That is crazy to me. And sometimes we get so caught up in our own fears and in all the little things instead of like seeing for what it is. And this is a sentence that you will hear me say in more or less every episode, but the chance of you being born is 1 in 400 trillion. 1 in 400 trillion. That's a number that honestly I cannot even fathom and imagine. Like that's just the chance of you being born. Like that is the craziest thing. Like it is a gift that you are alive. And do you really want to spend your life overthinking, worrying, and not doing what you actually want to do? Like, and all the issues and the problems that we have, like they're so small compared to like this whole beautiful freaking big world and the universe. And I don't know what it's like. The universe sometimes like scares me, like to think about everything that is going on and all the stars, but it's also so fascinating. But this is so small. And also thinking about your whole lifespan and thinking about like how much you have experienced so far and like how much more you get to experience, how many more people you get to meet, how much more you get to learn, how much more you get to heal, how much more things you get to experience. Like this is crazy. So whenever you feel disconnected, one way to go about it is to zoom out. Really see like the bigger perspective. See that there's like this example that sometimes helps me to visualize, okay, I'm really focusing on the wrong thing right now. Imagine a blank sheet of paper. And somewhere on this blank sheet of paper, there is a tiny black dot. And often what we do is we focus on that black dot. And that black dot really takes away all our happiness, all our joy, our excitement, because all we do is look at the black dot, and the black dot stands for everything that doesn't go well in your life and the things that you haven't figured out, or maybe you look into the mirror and you really don't like your stomach. or you don't like your nose, or you really think about, this specific, like, what if you could look at the blank sheet of paper instead of only looking at the black dot? And that's one thing that I want you to take away from this episode, to look at the blank sheet of paper and there's a fly around, and to really see how much joy is surrounding you, and in how many ways life is treating you, and how beautiful is it that you get to eat fresh, beautiful food? How beautiful is it that you have people in your life that know you and that love you? How beautiful is it that you can speak, that you can see, that you can hear, that you can smell, that you can experience so many emotions? Like, how beautiful is it that you have the ability to feel love? And maybe you're struggling right now with feeling love and feeling beautiful. Again, this fly, I'm so sorry. How beautiful is it that you get to experience all these different emotions? How beautiful is it that you're so connected to yourself that you can feel pain, you can feel anger, you can allow yourself to feel all these different emotions. And sometimes when we really go through hard times, people become neutral. Like, they can't feel joy anymore and they can't feel anger anymore. And it takes a lot of energy and a lot of work to get to a place again where you can allow yourself to feel. But the fact that we are on this earth, we get to like move and run and walk and move our, like, this is crazy. This is crazy. So, okay, talking a lot today. So one thing to reconnect with yourself is like to zoom out, and the other way is pretty contrary, and it is to really zoom in, to really, really zoom in. So we can do this actually together right now. As I'm talking with you, I want you to really take in your surrounding. Like, really look around of like what you currently see. Like, what are the colors that are surrounding you? Is there everything just static, or is there something moving? Is it more like square, or is there like, what are the colors? Like, really look around. And whenever you see something interesting, I really want you to lock eyes with that. I have a plant actually that I'm currently looking at, and try to really zoom in and see the details that you usually don't see. Like, really look at it in a way where you see something you haven't seen before. Really take in what you're seeing. Take a deep breath. Notice this. Notice the color, the shape, the structure. Really see it for what it is. Try to see something you haven't seen before. And this is also a way to connect with yourself, because it really helps you zoom into the moment and be truly, truly present. And something that I like to do, and that I actually did a lot when I was going through anxiety in my past, and like really feeling like having anxiety attacks as well, is a game that I like to call 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So your goal is to first notice 5 things that you're seeing, and don't just to try to, I'm seeing this, this, and that, but really, okay, look around and notice, okay, I see a pink pillow right here with some creases in between. I see a beautiful monstera. I'm actually like obsessed with plants. If you know, you know. Oh, she's a beauty. And like, look around in your surrounding and really notice what are 5 things that you see. And after you do that, you move on to 4 things that you can hear. What are like 4 different sounds that you can hear right now? Sometimes it's quite tricky to come up with them, but it's really about like listening. Maybe there's like a really, really like silent outside noise, and somewhere it's like a car driving by. Really try to listen. I hear a clock ticking in the background. I can hear some cars from behind. I can hear the fly flying by and some more things. And then I wanted to move on to 3 things that you feel right now in a way of like things that you're touching. For example, I can tell that the back of my ponytail is touching my back and my neck. I can feel the ring on my finger, and I can feel my feet on the ground. So really noticing about, okay, what are some like 3 things that you're currently feeling? And then I want you to move on to 2 things that you can smell right now. I know this can sometimes be tricky if you feel like you're in a neutral place, but still try to smell 2 things that you can just smell right now. The last thing would be, what is one thing you can taste right now? And this is just a really beautiful way for you to connect with yourself again. Ooh, I have a bonus one for you as well. I have shared this in the past with you before, but this is something that I usually like to do to have like a quick check-in with myself, and that I haven't done the way I usually do it this week, which ended up with me feeling like quite stressed and anxious. So what I want you to do, and what I want you to incorporate into your daily life to feel more connected with yourself and more at peace and more rested, is to do a quick check-in. How does a check-in work? A check-in works like this, that you start with a deep breath, maybe even 3 deep breaths if possible, but this actually doesn't take a lot of time. Like you can do this in 30 seconds, you can take 2 minutes, you can take 5 minutes, whatever you prefer, but taking a moment for a deep breath and connecting with the moment, and then maybe putting a hand on your heart and asking yourself, okay, how does my body feel right now? My body feels a little bit tense, like I can really use some yoga and like some being physically active. How does your mind feel right now? Does it feel really overwhelmed, overthinking a lot of things going on? Or does it feel calm? Like what is currently going on through your mind? Take another deep breath. And now I want you to think about, what does your body need right now? Does your body need some exercise? Does it need some stretches? Or does it just need some like laying down and resting? Or is it like all good, like you can continue as you go? And then I want you to think about, okay, what does your mind need right now? Does your mind need like a quick break outside and just like taking a deep breath? Or do you feel like, I'm really like into focused work? Or do you need some creativity? And of course, I understand that sometimes you are not in a space where you can give yourself exactly what you need, but it's such a big step to even be mindful about it. Like to even be mindful, because otherwise, if we're like in this stressed state, it happens so easily that things trigger us, that we get frustrated, that we are disconnected from that we're not able to regulate our nervous system. And maybe you're a mom and you have children and they really get on your nerves. But I think being aware of what you need and teaching it to your kids even as well, or to the people that you're surrounding yourself with, is so powerful, because you're actually acting out of a place where you know what you need. I think I have talked enough for today. I want to thank you so much for being here. If you need any help with like going for your dreams, any of that, you can just message me over on Instagram at greta.webhofer, at greta.webhofer. And in general, if you want to give me any feedback, it really means the world to me. If you really enjoy this podcast and you haven't rated it yet, it would mean the world to me if you would give me 5 stars. And we're only like 30 followers away from hitting 20,000 people here on Spotify, and it would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for doing the work on yourself. And I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye.